Hey everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism and narcissistic relationships. And let's talk about the conundrum that many people face, because we're always told that we shouldn't ever judge or dismiss something on the basis of one thing. It really comes down to patterns. The thing that's often taken away from us in a narcissistic relationship is that we don't get to talk about the patterns in our relationship when it involves a narcissistic person. In many cases, if a person makes one mistake, does one thing that really bothers us in a relationship, we don't consider it catastrophic. We may be miffed, we may even be really angry, but we hopefully talk it out, and more than anything, they hear us and they change it. Or we may not bring it up and hope it's a one-off. I mean, none of us are perfect, right? Some mistakes are obviously, not everything is that simple. Some mistakes are obviously more in the sort of potentially unforgivable range, like physical abuse or cheating, but let's leave those kinds of big ticket kinds of things off for now. So the person you're in the relationship may keep doing bad things, saying things, and you start feeling increasingly uncomfortable in the relationship. And maybe you do bring things up and you ask for change and you tell them you're hurt and you fight with them. Sadly, if this is in fact a narcissistic relationship and you went through the love bombing stage in any form of idealization, their little things that will start showing up as more big things and more often in the devalue stage will certainly feel confusing. Trauma bonded stuff may slowly be kicking in too, but you still know what doesn't feel good, and not good feeling stuff may continually pile up. This may not be limited to a romantic relationship. It may also occur in a relationship with a narcissistic family member, where they keep doing and saying not good stuff, or a narcissistic friend. The way this unfolds is that the bad things keep happening. As I said, empathic, healthy, nice people usually don't want to indict people after the other person does or says something bad one time, one day. We may accept their explanations, we may try to make sense of it ourselves, but when it becomes 2 times, 3 times, 20 times, 50 times, every day for years and years, that's a thing. So the day comes when you think you are going to talk about it with them, and you may even feel fortified by the fact that there is a lot of data here, that you have a lot of information to support your point. Months, years, even decades of a pattern. It's not a one-off. Because if you brought up a one-off, certainly any narcissistic person is going to tell you you're being too sensitive. Nobody's perfect, right? But here's the problem, and this is the catch-22, the double bind of the narcissistic relationship. So when you bring up the pattern, stuff that's been happening for months or even years, most narcissistic toxic people will often say to you, "Oh my gosh, why do you keep bringing up stuff from the past? Gosh, what do you do? Do you write everything down so you can use it against me?" You see that catch-22? Bring up something that happens once, and they'll tell you that you're being too critical, too exacting, too unforgiving, that nobody is perfect all the time. Bring up something that has happened many, many, many times, and you're criticized for bringing up the past. And what is even worse is that they may find support in couples therapists, enablers, and other folks who say, "Yeah, right, healthy relationships can only move forward if we let go of the past. But the past is where all the data on the damn patterns is sitting." And make no mistake, all of this applies to narcissistic families as well. You didn't stand a chance as a kid, but a narcissistic sibling or parent or step-parent or other caregiver or aunt or uncle or other extended family member, let's say they do keep doing the same thing again and again. They've been doing it since childhood, adolescence, you're in adulthood now, and you finally had it, so you say something. And you talk about it. Damn, this is a pattern. The same whatever, criticism, whatever. And you'll often hear, "Oh, come on now, that's water under the bridge. And yeah, I did something, but that old stuff, why are you bringing that up now?" The tricky bit is that this allows them to sidestep the actual issue. They will often deflect to, "Why do you need to bring up the past?" and then the behavior that they're engaging in doesn't get addressed, they don't cop to it, and they don't change it because they have you wondering if you are a petty person for bringing up the past. Take a look at a lot of the relationship advice out there. It always parrots this theme of relationships can only move forward if we don't live in the past. But if the patterns can only be established by bringing up the past, you can see how you're stuck when it's a narcissistic relationship. And since we're told that, well, you don't want to do anything unless it's a pattern, and in these relationships we can't talk about the patterns, not much you can do. And let's keep it real, folks. This could be a very short video. They're not going to change anyhow. Pattern, no pattern, bringing up stuff from the past is in fact pointless. But perhaps you're bringing it up in some hope that with evidence, maybe your argument is stronger. Maybe it just helps you feel more sane. That maybe others around you will support you in what you're pointing out because you're showing, look, this is a pattern. Unfortunately, that is not how narcissistic relationships, families, or systems work. The fact is, this kind of stuff happens in the workplace too, when you will be critiqued for bringing up past stuff. And of course, you'll be looked at with a curious, well, you're still here in the job, so it couldn't have been that bad. And that's what a lot of people will do in any narcissistic relationship. You say it's a pattern, but you're still here. So how bad was it? Healthy people who make mistakes either self-correct, take accountability when it's pointed out, and above all else, make all attempts to fix it. People in narcissistic relationships hold out hope until they no longer can. And perhaps the hope is that if they have enough heft to their argument, enough data in their argument, that the narcissistic person won't be able to wriggle out. The narcissistic person will always find a way to wriggle out. Patterns do matter. If anything, while bringing up the patterns to a narcissistic person is absolutely worthless and a waste of your time, use it as fuel for your radical acceptance that it is a pattern, that you know the choices that are in front of you. Get out or find the workarounds, and above all, stop blaming yourself. But these relationships are not a world where you can point out a pattern without being gaslighted one more time and be told, oh, you're such a petty person for bringing up the past. No matter what, they're going to call you a petty person. You're a petty person for bringing up something that happened once. You're a petty person for bringing up something that happened yesterday. You're a petty person for bringing up the past. But it can really feel stifling when you're told, look for the pattern. You find the pattern. You can't bring up the pattern. Don't live in the past. Live in the present. Can't bring up one mistake. And all of these reasons are why these relationships can feel so demoralizing and feel like they're hollowing you out. Just wanted to point that out. I have no doubt that more than a few of you have gone through that. Thanks again.